Hey, what's up, my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So, Dragoons, today we're going to be doing a CardFight Vanguard deck profile of my current Kagero Perdition Stride deck profile. And I want to thank you, Dragoons, and humbly apologize for taking a very long time for me to getting back to my Vanguard videos up till now. As you Dragoons know, my channel is more dedicated to Yu-Gi-Oh! So Yu-Gi-Oh! Had to come first for a while before I could dig on and go back onto Vanguard. But nonetheless, while also grabbing more Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, I was able to also get access to a little bit more Vanguard cards as well. And I was able to pick up some few good cards here time to time for not only for my Kagero, but also for my Narukami clan as well. So a lot of things are being working out very shortly. So now since I got a lot of things caught up, not only I'm going to be able to do some great new Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles now and then, but I will also have some great new CardFight Vanguard deck profiles here and there time to time. This is kind of one of my good upperclassmen decks, and this is kind of a deck that's really fun. I definitely really enjoy playing with this deck here and there, and it definitely has came across, and it has definitely changed quite a bit ever since the last time I've done a Perdition deck profile compared to when I first got Perdition deck when Perdition was like the best thing to play for Kagero in general time. But nonetheless, despite what's been coming up as of late, I do feel like Perdition is still a fun clan, and it's still fun. It can still do a lot of great things time to time, and hands the right player, it can do a lot of great, huge, heavy, devastating plays time to time. So with that being said, let's get on straight to the deck profile right now. Shall we, Dragoons? Alright, start off with your starting Vanguard. Start off with Protect Dragon, Flare Dracokid. He's a really great, interesting guy. What he does is he's a forerunner, so when you ride a guy on top of him, he goes in the other rear guard circle. Also, he has the ability of when your Vanguard first goes into Legion. When your Vanguard Legions, you may pay the cost. If you do, which is put him solo on your Vanguard. If you do choose one of your Vanguards until end of turn. It gains the ability when its unit attack hits. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So what this means is it kind of works kind of like a little bit similar as Lizard Soldier Fargo for most Overlord based decks right here. Pretty much he pretty much does a pretty much similar exactly as Fargo. Only except what makes this guy a really good, better choice of him instead of Fargo in this deck like this is your deck is more Legion based than would be compared to Overlord based. So this guy right here will definitely be your ideal go-to guy for a deck like this. Just use this guy's ability whenever your Vanguard first goes in Legion, and boom, you can go off with some really nice heavy effects. And even if you don't go off with the ability to retire your opponent's rear guards, you still, just the fact that this guy will force your opponent out to waste some serious guarding in order to reserve their rear guards can definitely really help you beneficially. And this deck also has a lot of potential play, all doing quite a bit some soul blasting here and there. So when you soul blast, you can then later on do another Legion play, put him back into your deck, and then when he's put back in deck, if you haven't conveniently draw into him or whatever such, you can just play him and then go to Legion and just use the ability all over again. So yeah, Flare Dracokid is pretty fun to play with. And now for the trigger lineups, we have, of course, your 4 heals. No explanation needs to explain why the heals are so important. And if you Dragoons have seen my videos in the past, I think a lot of you guys will see this one coming from a mile away. 6 criticals and 6 draw lineup right here. But I mean, equal balance of offense, defense. Offense, so I can be aggressive as much as possible and go in and kill as much as possible, while still be on defensive and be able to draw into what I really need drawn to the most. Gathering Claw Dragon is definitely very important right here because Forerunners have become a lot more beneficial and a lot more helpful to a lot of other decks recently, ever since Stride became a thing. So we definitely do. So while Flare Dracokid is still a great card for such things as such, we do want as much options to potentially pop all those rear guards, and especially those Forerunners as fast as we possibly can, so we can stop those annoying effects faster before they get out of hand. So that right there was the trigger lineup. Now for the grade 1 lineup, for the grade 1s, we have the 4 Protect Orb Dragons. If you want to use regular perfect guards, that's fine too. The deck will work just fine with them. I really like Protect Orb Dragon because I really like the ability of when he nullifies the attack, if I have another one in my drop zone, I can unflip a damage that's a face down damage that's face up down and my damage is face up. That can definitely come a really long way because while this deck is not really as heavy counterblast as people would normally anticipate, just the ability to unflip a damage can definitely really be beneficial and can definitely help you you do a lot of consistent plays here and there, and where I play, we don't normally have any normal. We don't deal with any decks that have those annoying anti-perfect guard abilities. So playing these type of perfect guards where I live definitely has no problem with me right now at the moment. And next we have the 4 Lava Flow Dragons. Just your instant striders. No explanation needed with your instant striders. Next up, we have 3 copies of Tower Wyvern Towers. When you call a rear guard circle, Soul Blast 2, draw a card. Very helpful for this deck. Not only allows you to take cards out of your soul that you want back in your drop zone, so you can legion them back into your deck, but just ability where when you call them, you get free draw as well. Can definitely be very beneficial for a deck like this. I mean, not only beneficial for the drawing, but as I said earlier, very beneficial for the potential possibilities of putting back what you just Soul Blast back into your deck when you go off your Legion abilities and such. And next, defend the end of the Great Wands. 3 copies of Dragonmon Gojo. Dragonmon Gojo, if you don't want everyone to use his ability, he's always a great decent 7k booster. And worst case scenario, you can always pitch him in a grade 2 for your stride mechanic going on and such, if you choose to do so as well. But nonetheless, if you do want to use Dragonmon Gojo's ability, he can definitely be very helpful with that as well. Just the ability where you can rest him, pitch a card, draw a card, can always be very helpful, very beneficial. Especially if you're going first. Like, just the ability where you can just ride into Dragonmon Gojo, and just use his ability to rest him, pitch a card, draw a card while he's your Vanguard when you're going first on the first turn, can definitely help you go long ways and help you make long pushes time to time. So with that being said, Dragonmon Gojo can definitely be very beneficial and definitely be very helpful depending on what you want to try to do. Now, a lot of people will actually cut out the monk period because there's not always really need for him, which is understandable, and I will admit I have had thoughts about potentially taking him out of this deck as well. I'm not really 200% sure yet. I'll have to ponder about that, but for right now, Monk is still a great card, at least in my opinion. And that is it for the grade 1s. Now for the grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Whirlwind Dragon. Just use your 12k attacker as long as your Vanguard is Perdition. And by the time your Vanguard is a grade 2, it's guaranteed your Vanguard will have the word Perdition in his card name, meaning that this guy will get his 12k boost no matter what. Also, another thing that's also important about him is he's your Dragonowt's mate. So now and then, if I do have an extra one of him, I'll now and then if I have Dragonowt going on, I'll actually now and then reserve this guy in my hand, just so I can be able to use Dragonowt's skill to where I hit another copy of him or one of these guys in order to go off with Dragonowt's skill to retire some rear guards. But if something happens where I have to go full on soul and I can't use Dragonowt's ability, no big deal. I'll just call out my guys and be able to do some things and such. And keep in mind, we are in an era of Vanguard. We're going to be striding every now and then. So if push comes to happen where I have to call him instead of using Dragonowt's skill, no big deal. I'll just use the stride ability, stride into whoever I need to stride into the most, and then have a 12k rear guard to back up along with my current stride guy, so I can go in there with some huge power and some heavy retirement onto my opponent. So 4 Whirlwinds, still the way to go, at least right now at the moment. And then next up, 4 copies of Overlord's mate, 4 copies of Protect Dragon, Neoflame. One of the main reasons he's in here for is obviously because he's your Overlord's mate, which is also very important in this deck right here. But another thing that's also important that makes Neoflame really interesting is that Neoflame also has the ability of, as long as he's in your rearguard circle, if a rearguard on your opponent's side of the board happens to be in the same column as him, is retired, he gets the ability of Counterblast 1, retire another rearguard of that same column. So for example, say you do some combos where there's 2 rearguards in front of him, right, like so. Let's say you did, for example, like a let's say for example you did a Berserk Dragon skill. You can use it. You can use your Berserk Dragon skill. There's no Berserk Dragon in this deck, but just bear with me. Use Berserk Dragon skill, retire rearguard like so. Then his skill will go off by just counterblasting rearguard. Counterblast doesn't matter what grade, size, or whatever such of that unit is. As long as that unit is right in front of him, just counterblast 1, and you could just pop off another rearguard right there. So yeah, Neoflame Dragon is definitely very useful, especially when your Overlord has a word strike. Not strike. Especially if your your Overlord Vanguard is currently in Legion, and you're done attacking with him. Then when you're done attacking with your, then when your Overlord Vanguard does whatever, while he's in Legion, you can just pop off one of your Neoflame rear guards, and just pop off even more rear guards as such. So Neoflame has some really great use besides just being an Overlord mate. And speaking of retirement, 3 copies of Perdition Dragon, Mahannd Laser Dragon. What he does is when he's called a rear guard circle, counterblast 1 card. When he's called a rear guard circle, pay the cost. If you do, retire a rear guard in the same column on your opponent's side board that's in the same column as this guy right here. So, just like Neoflame Dragon, what's so great about this guy is as long as the card that you want to retire is right in front of him, by just counterblasting 1 mirror card, you can pop off any rear guard. So, ability where you can just pop out a rear guard by just counterblasting 1 card can definitely be very helpful. And once you get the right plays going, you can go out, set yourself up with some really great combos, time and time with abilities like this. So, Laser Dragon, a great card. And that is it for the grade 2s. Now for the grade 3s. For the grade 3s, we have 4 copies of Dragonowt. Let me rephrase that. 4 copies of Perdition Dragon, Vortex Dragonowt. Legion, his mate is Whirlwind Dragon. He has the ability of when this unit of Counterblast 2 and choose a card same name as his unit on your Vanguard from your hand and discard it. If this unit is Legion, choose up 2 of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and retire them. Then if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone is 4 or less, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, deal 1 damage to that deal 1 damage. During that damage check, all triggers effects are nullified. So what this means is by just counterblasting 2 cards and pitching a copy of itself or Whirlwind Dragon while this guy first goes into Legion, while this guy is in Legion, you can retire 2 of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and deal a damage to your opponent as long as your opponent has 4 or less damage. So yeah, Dragonowt, while he doesn't allow you to do your biggest plays like Great does, just the ability where you can just retire 2 rear guards and potentially deal damage to your opponent while your opponent's damage is 4 or less, that can definitely go a long ways, especially if your opponent's damage was at 4 before this happened. Just coming out of nowhere and put your opponent at 5 damage right by just going off with this guy's ability, and then going all out with this guy's ability and with this guy's attack and your rear guards right straight at your opponent's Vanguard, can put a lot of pressure down your opponent and maybe even potentially make you a game winner change right here. While the ideal goal of the strategy is utilizing Overlord, one of the best things you can do with this deck right here is do your stuff with your Overlord, then ride this guy on top of your Overlord, and after your Overlord is done solving your opponent up, use this guy's skill, retire your opponent's rear guards, and then deal damage to your opponent, and potentially go for a game right there. So Dragonowt is actually a very aggressive, heavy-duty card to have around. And speaking of Overlord, we end the main deck with 4 copies of Perdition, Emperor Dragon, Dragonowt, Overlord the Great. Legion 20, his mate is Neoflame Dragon. He has the abilities of Counterblast 1, choose 2 cards from hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attack the rear guard. If this unit is Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand your Vanguard back up. This ability cannot be used for the rest of this turn. Also, his third ability is choose one of your rear guards, same name as a unit on your Vanguard circle, and retire it. When this unit attacks hits, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So, one of your ideal goals with this deck right here is to be able to use the Great's ability to stand right back up to attack twice. Now, just the ability that this guy can as your Vanguard, just the ability that this guy can attack your opponent's Vanguard and then rear guard first, then stand right back up and attack your opponent's Vanguard can definitely become a very nuisance threat. Like this, with this guy here, you get 4 drive checks out of him total. And on top of that, he also has a really nice, interesting ability whenever any of his attack hits, regardless of Vanguard or rear guard, by just retiring a rear guard that that happens to share the same name as whoever's in the circle of your Vanguard circle, you can retire one of your opponent's rearguard of your choice. And what's really interesting about the final effect is you can use this effect even if he's not in Legion. So let's say you have two Overlords. This one's your Vanguard. This one's your rearguard. You swing, nothing. Whatever happens, it happens. You swing with this guy, it hits, and then uses the guy's ability. Retire this guy to retire your opponent's Vanguard right there at the moment, right there at the spot. But mostly you do want to use the ability of going your Legion a lot to get your double attacks. But one thing you can definitely do with him is, give me a second, let's see if I can find him real quick, give me one moment, there he is. Let's say this is your idea field right here. One thing you can definitely do with this guy right here is, let's say for example, Neil Flame Texas something, then have this guy attack into a rearguard. For whatever reason, your opponent lets it hit. Before you do your drive checks to hit, whatever such. Then, right before you use this guy's stand ability, you use his retirement ability, retire him, pop out a rearguard. Then use his stand ability, stand right back up. Then, attack the Vanguard, and then, let's say your opponent lets it hit, for whatever reason. Then, after which, retire this, pop out another rearguard. And that's one of the great things you can do with Overlord. Overlord can just allow you to just not only board wipe, but also force your opponent out to use up some really great huge cards in their hand. And what's really interesting about this is, while this Vanguard is Legion, its first attack does not have to be a hit. Just as long as it was battling and you're able to pay the cost by counterbalancing one and pitch two Kageros, he can just stand right back up and just go right back into being a vicious beast that will just mess your opponent's day up without even trying. So yeah, that right there was the main deck. Now for the Stride deck. For Strides, we still have the 1 Divine Dragon Knight Sarham, the 3 Mahands. That's pretty much basic generic staple for this deck like this. And then 4 copies of Flare Dracokid. Flare Dracokid actually functions a little bit similar like how Perditions do. So it can actually help this Perdition deck out a little bit here and there. So yeah, really interesting guy right here. And yeah, Dragoons, that right there was my current Perdition Kagero deck profile of how it is right now at the moment. It's a really fun deck. I really enjoy this deck very much right here, Dragoons. And it's definitely, and if you Dragoons are looking for a really nice, cool type of style Kagero deck, you're not looking for that much money to spend. As long as you're not looking for like the expensive rarities, I do believe that most of these rarities are actually not expensive as it used to be. So it will be a little bit easier to pick up. But if they are a little bit expensive, you may want to try the breakdown / pain laser build. That may be a more cheaper Kagero build if you're a budget player and you still want to put together a really great Kagero deck. But nonetheless, this is still a fun deck to play around with. It's nowhere as good as Kagero the X, as much as I hate to say this, but it still has a great potential. And in hands the right player, it could actually go toe to toe with that deck like such. And nonetheless, it's a deck I really love and enjoy playing around with. And with that being said, let me know what Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. And I'll see Dragoons around. Hopefully Dragoons enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and a favorite if you did, and share this video with other people. It really helps me out a lot. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Subscribe today. Become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.